we are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no. No more snowflakes.
We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Ay, everybody's wrong, that's the real problem. Ay, they don't wanna hear it, but they still talking. Ay, soon enough, we running out of options. Ay, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. Ay, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. Ay, I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no. No more snowflakes.
For this evening, we have Suma and Alex Spielman. Dr. Alex Bloom isn't with us today, but we are still loving him and we'll be excited the next time he can join us. So a few shout outs really quick. Thank you so much for Soma Fusion and Katie Kamara for all the work that you do with us. So love you so much for that and appreciate you. iEvolveTV, C4OC Radio Networks, and Rev Radio Las Vegas. And of course, where would we be without our amazing sponsors, which we love to help Katie Kamara. And so Savvy Clothing Line is a clothing line that's especially for women of all ages and sizes. And it's a great place to just really support one another. And so check it out. The Savvy Clothing Line, savvi.com/Soma Fusion, and see some excellent and cute footwear there for women. So everybody, it's been a long time no see, kind of getting back together in the studio since Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So I know I'll still be back and forth, kind of facing a little bit of mystery right now behind our civil liberties. I'm actually fighting for my job currently. And so putting in my exemption request, which it's crazy that we even have to do those kind of things. So yeah, fun.
And
that
a lot
could
of
be
people are actually suffering from the same ailment
Yeah.
here. You know, the
Mhm.
jobs literally hang on in the balance of whatever decision they decide to make. And unfortunately, a lot of businesses are not familiar with the rules.
Right.
You know, a lot of businesses are not, you know, informed about like the Nuremberg Code and civil rights and stuff. They just feel that they have to go with the guidelines, the CDC or the mandates, and don't realize that mandates not law. A lot of them are too afraid to stand up because they don't want to lose the businesses. They don't want their businesses to close down. You know, a lot of them would just rather run it the way they want to. I've noticed a lot of business, but the excuse that they keep giving is, well, we got to do it this way. We have to do it this way. We have to follow the CDC, or we have to follow health officials and so forth. And I think they kind of forgotten what it means to actually be free here in this country. Even it includes running a business, not just in general public.
Well, and one of the things that thinking about with the mandates and the things that are going on, the particular company that I work for, they believe that they're doing the right thing by forcing everybody to comply and have either a shot or wear a face diaper and take a test every week, which the test itself has the same constituents that a lot of that is in the shot and everything. And one of the things that with the Nuremberg Code that is there to protect our civil rights is, you know, those things aren't for everybody. I have my own issues with my health, and I should not have to disclose what my medical information is. Just them asking for that is a HIPAA violation. I am not going to comply with that because there's things in my health history that, they would probably be like, oh, well, why are you working here anyway? It's not their right to choose. It's my right to choose where I work, whether or not I have the, disabilities that I do have, which I don't consider myself disabled, even though I do have different autoimmune things going on. That's not something that I choose to treat allopathically or basically with Western medicine. That's my right to choose. I choose to do diet and exercise and supplementation for my health to boost my immune system, which, I have my ups and downs like anybody else. But it's nobody's right to tell me, well, if you want to work at this place, you have to do this medical procedure or wear this thing or do whatever. That's discrimination. And not only is it discrimination on my civil liberties, it's discrimination on my health. Somebody's saying, oh, well, because you're not doing this, then basically you're tainted, or, no, you're not, you can't come here to work. That's against the law. And it's against the law for anybody to mandate anything that is going to cause, any kind of coercion. I'm signing this under duress because basically I'm having to put this forward. If I don't do this by a specific date, then I'm automatically fired. Or if I don't comply with, whatever these standards that they're saying that I have to do
That's a
medically
lot.
with my body. Right.
Well,
Now,
and a lot of the places, they have this attitude, well, it's our policy, just like no shirts, no shoes, no service. They
Right.
keep using the term, it's our policy to be able to do this. So you comply with policy or you get out.
That's why I wrote on the form, I said, I am signing this under duress because they're basically giving me no other option. So I'm being forced to sign something that, for one, I'm not religious. And so the Civil Rights Act, the Title VII in Civil Rights Act, basically gives people the religious conviction to choose whether or not they want to do something medically or anything else. I mean, basically it's your civil liberties to do something without
Right.
being cajoled or bullied or whatever, treated differently in the workplace. Well, for me, it's a conviction on my body. This is the temple that I'm going to be in for the rest of my life. I get to choose what I put into it. Nobody else gets to choose whether that's a religious conviction or not. This is still a conviction I have with my own body, with my rights. So that's why I brought the Nuremberg into this particular case on, my petition. Like, look, this is why I'm making this statement. And
Yeah, and to be
So, I
clear,
wonder-
even businesses out there has even said, well, you're not really under duress. You have a choice of not having to work there. Duh. So when
Wait.
people hear that, when people
There-
hear
well, I'm
that,
waiting to see if they're gonna keep me there or fire me. If they fire me, then I will request that they must put it in writing why they are firing me, which it is because of specific mandates going on. And that will be in my record with, basically I'm saying, no, I don't agree. If they fire me, and, of course I will have that in writing, then of course, when the litigations are going around, I'm definitely going to sue because it is my right to be able to work. And I love the job. It's a delightful place to work. I get amazing benefits. It's the pay that I've been looking for. And, I commute over 186 miles to work for a reason, because it is that amazing a place to work. I have a right to work where I feel welcomed and wonderful. I even my boss, one of the chefs there, because I'm one of the line cooks and I work in the kitchen, in the main kitchen there, he's concerned because he's like, God, we really like you. Maria, you're amazing. You're helping so much. You're bilingual. We're tying things together. This is awesome. We're organized, and there's 3 of us, at least that I know of, that are basically fighting for our jobs right now. But we're standing firm because we're not just going to quit and bail, because this is our civil liberties and we have a right to say no. That's our First Amendment rights, to say no, stand up.
Absolutely.
I do not agree with this. And, Fourth Amendment right, they're violating just by, they don't have a warrant to know what my records are medically, and there's no reason to even ask for a warrant. I've done nothing illegal. I've done nothing but worked hard for them. And even my boss is just like, God, you know, what can we do? You know, he says, I support you for standing up for your rights. He's been nothing but supportive, and I absolutely think he's amazing. And other people that are working there, you know, like I said, I've got at least 3 of us that are going to be filling these forms out and sending them. And
I recommend people standing up because, you know,
absolutely,
it's happening all over the place. It's happening.
Mhm.
And look at the American Airlines and stuff. They had a
yes,
complete backlash, and then guess what?
so
They
awesome.
changed their policy. You know, that's what we need to do. When we stand up, the game is over. It's the same thing with that powerful meme that
Right.
shows the elites, you know, sitting around a table that's made by us, hunched down, and they have a board game over us. And they said, all we have to do
Exactly.
is stand up. Game's over. So that's the number
There-
one thing we all need to do,
Absolutely.
is to stand up.
There's actually Mara, you brought up Civil Rights Act of 1964, and there's actually a section I'm actually reading it on the official website. This is the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC.gov. I will be giving the links to Katie for to
Yes,
be put on the
please.
description so anybody can read it.
On anything that I can add to my petition, I would absolutely be grateful for.
There-
Thank you.
So there's a one section that is in there. Now, once again, I wanted to also mention, as I've mentioned before, this is not legal advice. This is just public record.
Right.
And I am just informing about this record as a form of education. Take with it as you will. And also, if you need to, I recommend talking to counsel in order to get proper clarification for your individual situation.
Right. I'm
but-
hoping the lawyer that I reached out to comes back, because I haven't heard from him. So I'm like, I keep texting, like, please let me talk with you.
So the section I'm going under is entitled Unlawful Employment Practices. Okay, this is going to be really short. It's only 2 parts. So it's under. It says it shall be unlawful for unlawful employment practice for an employer to 1, fail or refuse or to hire or discharge any individual or otherwise to discriminate against an individual with respect to his or her compensation, terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, or to limit, segregate, classify his or her application for employment in a way that would deprive or tend to deprive individual of employment opportunities or otherwise adversely affect his or her status as an employee because of individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. What they're doing is segregation.
That's
Now,
exactly
is it
what's
under
going
race,
on.
color, religion, sex, national origin? If you're putting in a religious exemption, it is, because you're violating the person's First Amendment right to practice religion, and you're also violating the Civil Rights Act by segregating them because of that.
Well, and even my Fifth Amendment rights to say you don't I'm not going to send you my information. You don't get all that information. I should be able to have the right to say no, because I
business
don't
should
feel
ask.
comfortable. From my own research, from the research that I've had, I feel that it is a dangerous thing to take into my body, and it could cause harm or death to me. I don't want that. And so I do not consent. And so absolutely, I agree.
I think you're talking about the Fourth Amendment, not the Fifth Amendment.
Right, right. Well, the Fifth Amendment is being able to not, basically not say anything or not give them anything. But yeah, the fourth with the search and seizure.
To protect,
Right.
during in the court of law or
Right.
during arrest.
Right.
But here's a refresher. Amendment 4. This is just me gonna be going over material, so bear with me. Because this is gonna be kind of a text heavy one. But the Fourth Amendment states that the right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, or effects, and unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particular describing the place to be searched and the persons and or things to be seized. So in order for a person to be searched at all, and we're not even just talking physically searched, we're talking digitally, we're talking financially, anything, any type of search, whether it's a court doing it or whether it's police doing it,
Even your boss can't do it.
your boss also can't. Most bosses are not allowed to do it unless you have signed some type of waiver allowing such information, which I doubt that's there. But you know, you can't be too careful these days.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times
Once
they'll
again,
make you sign things thinking it's one thing and then it's another. You know, you have to be careful.
once again, like I said, revert to counsel if you need it.
Yeah.
That's why they're there. I mean, they may be there for other reasons. You know, they have to make a living as much as anybody else, but they are trained to understand case law and other forms of law that they are specialized under. So I'm not a lawyer, just letting you guys know.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
So if anybody's just facing these things, you know,
Right.
do the research and find out what your rights are. And if you don't know what your rights are, you can talk to a lawyer. Most lawyers are pretty good at these sort of things. Some of them, I haven't had the best luck with them, but the majority of it is, you know, that they can help you and try to understand some of the rules, and some of it's a little bit sticky to understand. But you know, you always have a right to a counsel. You know,
Yeah,
if you don't understand how something works.
You have the right to an attorney one way or another.
Yeah.
And
like you said, don't ever sign anything if you don't know what you're signing for, because you don't know if you're gonna
Yeah.
accidentally sign your rights away.
Well, and that's
Also-
one reason why when I'm signing this, I'm writing signed under duress, because they're saying you acknowledge basically that if we decide to terminate you because we disagree with you, then you're cool with that. That's because I understand. I've read enough legal papers. That's why I put signed under duress, because that is not how I feel. I do not agree with them. I feel that they are pushing me to sign this, or threat to be basically, we're going to fire you anyway if you don't sign this and you don't do this and you don't do what we're telling you, because we think that we know what's better for your body and for everybody. No, I'm sorry. And I have every single right to say no fucking way. No. And this is the only way I can figure to do it is, you know, okay, I'll sign your thing, but I don't agree with your terms. This is bullshit. So that's what under duress is for anybody that is unfamiliar. If you're ever forced to sign something like that, you put that in writing. I am signing this under duress, against my will. I do not consent, whatever you're going to do. Because I do have in there, I do not consent. I do have in there that I will not participate. I don't feel safe with this. And I've put as much information I could on why I don't feel safe with it. So always, always, always put as much as you can in writing that
let
is
them
in
know how you
your
feel.
favor.
You know, I mean, the poison that they are passing around, I mean, just to let everyone know, we have talked about this in previous shows. I'm completely against it, mainly because I don't know what's in it. And
I know what's in it after seeing research.
Well, we know some of the stuff is in it, but we don't know everything that's in it. And we don't know all the effects of it.
Right.
And, you know, it's just that it's really, really scary to put something in you. You don't know what it is. And I have my own set of allergies, you know, when my husband had the meeting, you know, one of the things, as I spoken in the show before, that one of the questions that he asked was, what's in it? And he said, well, we haven't researched what was in it. That's what the doctor said on call. And I said, that's already should be a red flag. So you should be allowed to see the insert of everything, just as much as you should be allowed to know what's in the back of every package, every canister, every, you know, every box of different types of food items that you eat. You should know what's in it, even if it's obvious. My favorite one is milk. Ingredient, milk. At least they're simple about it, you know. But at least they let you know. So if it doesn't come with an insert, and the insert it says intentionally blank on it, that should be a red flag. And that is for the poison that they've been passing around. The inserts do exist, but they are blank at the moment. So yeah, everyone needs to watch out and be careful. In my opinion, I don't think the F and the A and the administration is looking out for your best interest. I mean, they have okayed all kinds of poisons before, and nothing new.
Well, I think it's even further than that. They don't have any legal authority.
Yeah.
They have no legal authority to do virtually anything. You know, my biggest my biggest pet peeve is when they're talking about, oh, we're just following CDC guidelines and WHO guidelines.
It's just crazy that somebody would be pushing so much with a guideline.
You know, it's it's annoying because the CDC doesn't have anything. It's an advisory board. It is not a legal one. There's only 3 places that are legal. It's called the Supreme Court, it's called the President, and it's called the Congress. And only one of those makes the laws. And since this has not come from Congress, and most likely this has not come from a local legislature, there is no law. There's nothing to enforce. And if people and officers are enforcing it, they are doing so under illegal means.
And even if the president goes up to the microphone and says, "I'm going to do this," he cannot do that.
Yeah, he
It has to
can't.
be
It's
voted.
against the law.
It has to be voted. It has to go through all these beautiful
Congress.
processes. So
There's
you
so
can't just
many
stand up
hoops
to the
to jump
microphone
through
and
with the
decide
laws.
to do it. Like, I mean, he's doing the same thing that the guy from World War II did. You know, he's sounding exactly like him. You can listen to how he's talking. He
HIT.
sounded
Yeah.
yeah, he's sounding exactly like him more and more every day. You just hear him stand up to the podium and he's starting to sound like him, and it's getting creepy. Actually, he's already creepy without even talking like that, in my opinion.
What about Sta, our good friend Sta from up north?
Yeah.
The Iron Man of the Iron Man of Russia, if you will. You know, if you know your Russian history, you know who that we're talking about. He happened to be the leader of the Soviet Union. Happened to be born in Georgia. Happened to be a good friend of a person named Trotsky. Killed with an ice pick in Mexico. Not him exactly, but still. Then he took control. That guy. You know
Kind of a creepy fucker.
Oh, and he also was the one who was able to remove people from photographs. He would literally remove them.
Damn.
Or add himself.
Well,
to
you know what they always say. They say it's the cover up to get you.
Well, what's the funny part about this is that it's insanity if you keep on doing the same thing and expecting this different result.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we're seeing. They're doing the same thing over and over again, and they're expecting something different. You're not going to get something different.
Speaking of all that, you know, they were talking about. I'm still trying to think of how they think that we are this stupid. They're talking about the spending bill that they're doing for $3 trillion, and they say it's going to cost us $0. I'm still trying to figure out how that works. What do you think, Alex? Tell me how that can be done.
It can't.
Exactly.
It literally can't. Okay, Sue, let's do this, and let's do this the easy way, which is let's do this as a family budget. Okay, yeah. Let's say instead of it being 3 trillion, you said?
Yeah.
Imagine instead of 3 trillion, it's $3,000. Let's say you have a mortgage of like $3,000 every month, right?
Yeah.
What if I told you it's not $3,000? You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay that $3,000 because you already have, even though you actually haven't. You're like, I didn't pay this month.
Yeah, well,
that's exactly what we're looking at.
It's being pulled out the left pocket. Just because it's coming out not coming out of the right pocket doesn't mean it's not coming out of the left pocket. I should be saying, you know, it's still from the same pants.
When politicians lie, they have a habit of lying in grandiose ways. And this is just my experience in the last few months of being a committeeman. They usually don't make sense. Okay, in this case, they totally make no sense. And if you're not a person who understands political jargon and you're just kind of listening to it as a soundbite, you're like, okay, sure, what else? You know, either it's a yes or it's a no. But if you are as curious as most of us are, you know, I know we have some fantastic listeners. So I know you have some critical thinkers in there, and we're like, wait a minute, roll that back a quick few moments and actually say that again slowly. So you're saying you want to do 3 trillion and it's cost us nothing. I think the question all of us are going to say is, how are we paying for this then?
Mm-hmm.
It's 300. Are you just saying we're going to go to the Federal Reserve and go, hey, buddy, can you just crank out $3 trillion and not put it on the tab this time around? I don't think they'll do that. I mean, we already know.
I'm surprised the money printer is still working. I wonder if they have that thing cranked up to full speed by now. I'm surprised it isn't smoking and starting to wear down.
I don't know. Have you looked at how much groceries are these days? Far more expensive than they were last year.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I mean, gasoline in most places is over $3. If you go to parts of California, that gas can go all the way up to $7, $8, depending on the quality. You know, regular gas premium, or if you're having like the second grade.
That would be the entire paycheck just to get to and from work.
But just it's like several paychecks after a while.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, basically, it's getting to the point where people are just simply paying to work. That's all. They're not getting ahead, like, you know, having just the bills paid and getting to and from work, and that's basically it. There's nothing else left in life.
There is 2 words for this. The first one is probably more well known, and that's a wage slave.
Yeah.
You are it's called the 40-40-40 dilemma, right? You work 40 years for 40 weeks for 40 hours a week. Most people, it's more than that, but that's just the general metric that most people use, like and how are you supposed to live life with that? But the other term is serfdom. That's a very lesser word. So serfdom is a term that comes from feudalism, and it basically means that you don't own property. You are basically working in behalf of somebody through a mutually agreed agreement deal. It's not slavery, because slavery is they're doing it forcefully. You're doing it willingly. And that's why it's so important to write, like Mario was saying, in duress, because then you're basically saying, I'm doing this, I don't really like this, and I will fight this if it ever comes to that.
And there's people out there that says, well, then it's normal for us to do things that we don't like, but we have to do it, you know? And these phrases like that has been built into our society to program us to just shut up and put up.
I don't appreciate when people do that, because it's very disingenuous.
Yeah.
Very disingenuous. It's basically saying that you are not supposed to do anything that you enjoy. That's the way I look at it. You're supposed to just do things you don't like and just have a stiff upper lip because of it.
Yeah. Just work and shut up. Earn your paycheck, pay your taxes. I mean, you know, it was like that for a very, very long time. And we did have a break in history from that for a little while. And then it came back again. And then Orange Man came around and gave us a very big break from it and started making a lot of us happy. But a lot of people were not grateful for what was out there. He actually gave us a taste of what it was like not to be at war. The whole world was for once not at war. He gave us a taste of what it was like to have lower wages. High wages, but lower price tags on things. He was, and it was just, things were starting to work out, slowly starting to get on track to the point where people actually like it. And then, well, he disappeared from the thing, and then everything went to heck after that. So, and now this tells you how much that the leaders that we have now absolutely love us. They love us so much that they are willing to actually, the ones who are at the border illegally, if they come in and they're being interrogated by border agents and all those that are passing them, and if it stresses them out, it upsets them, they can sue for the amount of stress and pain that it caused them emotionally and perhaps some physically of being interrogated, and they will get extra money. So this is, but the legal
Yes.
citizens that live here legally, that work these hours, what about us? You know, we're having to break our back, whatever wages that are out there, we're having to deal with whatever price tag. They're raising so much through the roof. And yeah, so this shows how much they absolutely love us. They care more about the people that surround the United States, that live around us in different other parts of the planet. They're supporting them geniusly. So just think about that, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, you know, I mean, this is another thing that they're putting us through is something called shortages. So, you know, Alex, did you wanted to talk about the shortage of, and we talked a little bit about the gas too, but
Shortages? Talking about what about shortages?
the shortages that are going on.
Why they're happening?
Right.
Yeah, do you want to talk about the shortages and what do
Okay.
you think is going on, your prediction and everything? Because we did talk about the
yeah,
gas
sure,
prices.
Sure.
So now,
Okay, so most times if you turn on the news, they're saying, "Oh, the shortages are because, there's not enough workers," or, "Oh, people are they're just making so much money that we just can't keep up with demand." Big old BS on those, but the actual reasons are a little bit more sinister. I know I put my tinfoil hat when I said sinister. But
you might, I don't know. You're kind of at the point where you're at about a couple layers of those hats on, maybe like 2 or 3 of them or something.
Oh, so I have enough. I finally have enough to wrap a lasagna. You know, finally.
No, I was kind of thinking more of a tinfoil sombrero.
Oh,
Tinfoil sombrero.
I thought that's where we were at this.
I could go. You mean I can go to one of these restaurants and go, "Hi, how you doing today?" I'm totally one of you guys. No, no. So, all right. So one of the reasons why a lot of these shortages are happening is because of the laws, the environmental protection laws in California. They basically state that a truck has to have a certain specification, and it has to be a certain age in order to be used. You cannot use older trucks past the law. The law says, I think it's 5 years old of a truck, and it has to be very, very strict environmental standards. And most trucks don't do that. Most companies do not have a fleet of trucks that are like that. And so what is usually done is that a company will send what compliant vehicles they have to the ports. They'll pick up the goods, and then let's say they're going out of California into, like, say, Nevada, Arizona, stuff like that, New Mexico, Oregon. They will actually offload those trucks and put it on a non-compliant California truck, and then they will do the rest of the trek with that new truck. So imagine how much time that takes. Taking off one truck, putting on another truck, going there. What you could be doing before that, you could be dealing with goods very quickly, very effectively, but not anymore. The same, and then you also have other issues here on the East Coast. For example, here in New Jersey, one of the biggest ports is in Elizabeth. And the reason we're dealing with over there is due to a few different reasons. One is actually that's actually the one they got right, which is labor. We have a serious labor issue, and that's because of the way they're doing unemployment at the moment. I believe they have not ended that, to my knowledge. But on top of that, we also have issues in this area because of a thing called the Port Authority. The Port Authority is an independent agency which oversees the ports of New Jersey and New York, in New York Harbor, that area. All those things are under the Port Authority. And I can go into a little bit more depth with that, but that's going to be just kind of like a general gist of that. So, what is the solution? The solution is Texas and Florida. Those are the solutions, because if you've noticed, over in Florida, with America's sweetheart governor, Governor DeSantis, he's basically saying, come to Florida. We have necessary ports that you can offload your goods, and you guys can go back to what you're doing. In fact, this morning, those ships that were outside California, and I believe there was 60 or 70
large armada that was out there.
60, 70 tankers worth of stuff. And remember, these are not small. You can overload several warehouses just with one of them. Well, this morning, the first ship to come from California to Florida through the Panama, and that's a 6-hour trip. Not 6-hour trip. I'm sorry, that's a 6-day trip. It finally docked. And so now we're going to start getting a flow of goods from Florida into the rest of the country. So that's going to help a little bit with the shortages. On top of that, we're also getting ships into into Texas. And the reason why we're going to Texas and Florida is because they don't have the horrible environmental or governmental overhang that these deep states have.
Wow.
And so we probably have saved Christmas and other holidays because of that. By the way, if you are celebrating this or you know someone who is, happy Diwali. It is Diwali this week for our Hindu friends.
Interesting.
So anyways, that's what's happening with those. What I think is going to happen is that it's going to be a game of chicken. And you're seeing that game of chicken being played. It's we're going to do something, and then there'll be a reaction like, "Oh, you can do that. Well, I have another way we can fix this." And you're just going to play that chicken back and forth until one side gives. And I think the side that's going to give is going to be the deep state.
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking of two
it's
other
really
games.
hard
Okay. No, continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not going to play Hangman. That's too graphic right now.
No, I was thinking, it sounds like we're either playing Red Rover or Duck Duck Goose, one or the other.
Or and no, we're not going to be playing a pinata. Either.
I know where I want to stick that stick in the piano. I'm going to stop now. I'm just.
Hey, Maria,
days.
you're the host. Behave.
I know.
We could talk about this elsewhere, but not now. For the kiddies.
So are they planning to take all those ships and just kind of reroute them between,
Exactly,
from
just
California to
rerouting
Florida?
Rerouting them from Texas into Florida.
That's a lot of rerouting there to be done.
It's awesome that they're doing that.
But
I'm
what?
glad they're doing it.
You can probably get this stuff done much more efficiently, actually.
Yeah.
The amount of times they had to deal with checks and the checks of the ships and all the different. Just the bureaucracy. This is going to actually make things far better. All right. This is actually probably going to kill these areas. Now, I'm not talking like physically kill. I'm talking financially kill, because California and the New York Metro are reliant on trade and commerce. They are commerce hubs. If they don't have this, they're not going to do very well for a very long time. And you're just going to see the southern powerhouses get even more powerful, because now they're taking that income. So, coming to a theater near you.
Yeah, it's definitely like a show.
Oh,
Definitely
I
like
think
a
it is.
show.
It's a great show. I know, and I understand it's terrible, and no one wants to deal with this. But let's be completely frank when I say this. Would you have understood this any other way? We had to do this properly, like this,
Right.
in order for people to understand the gravity of the things that we're dealing with. Otherwise, it would be like, oh, that's okay. We don't have to worry about that.
You know,
Yeah,
that
you have to
makes
show
a
the
lot of
people.
sense.
Yeah.
There's people at my workplace that had no clue that they could do what I'm doing. And because of that, there are at least 3 of us that are doing something. You know, it's not a big something, but something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And this is a big company. I mean, it's a really big company. So, you know, sometimes we have to do things that scare the living shit out of us and try to stay within our, you know, ability
Comfort
to remain
zone.
calm. And, you know, it could potentially be scary because, you know, it doesn't mean just because I have a job that I'm always caught up on everything, because, you know, we have bills, we have things that show up. My car, I just had to throw snow tires on, had to do basically all 4 rotors and brakes. Everything went out. I just put $1,200 in my car. So that was like basically 2 paychecks. So, you know, that's kind of scary in a way, thinking about, you know, in less than a week, I could lose my job. Okay, where's that money going to be replaced for my rent, for my bills, for, you know, food to be put on the table, or whatever's going to go on? Yeah, there's things that, you know, I could be able to apply for unemployment for a little while, or, you know, get some help from the state with food stamps or whatever. But there's still that energy there of, I don't have a guaranteed job under my belt if I get fired. So, you know, everybody has those things to look at. And I can definitely say to our listeners, I get it. You know, this is scary, but I also am doing this not just for myself. I'm doing this for my children. I'm doing this for my grandchildren. I'm doing this for you guys out there. Because if I don't stand up for my civil rights, I'm not standing up for your civil rights either.
That's awesome.
And I'm not going to back
You are
down.
very brave
I'm
for
not
doing
going to
this.
quit.
It's this reminds me of a quote from probably one of the most beloved presidents in the United States, and I've probably quoted this a million times already, but it's going to be President Kennedy. And this is when he was talking about the Apollo program, when you go into the moon. He's like, we choose to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Right? We're doing this, like you're saying, Maria. We're doing these things not because they're easy, but they're hard, and they're necessary. On top of that, if we do not do this, you know, it's going to fall apart. Everything will fall apart. Another beloved president, Ronald Reagan, he said that liberty and freedom are 1 generation away from destruction. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly how he said it, but essentially that is what he was saying, is that it only takes 1 generation. In fact, it sometimes can only take 10 months. Okay? As we can see, the radical differences between what has happened last year around this time versus now. And I mean, let's even go further back. Let's say 2 years from now, 2 years from now, which was 2019, in October, near Halloween, where were we? Our normal lives. Nothing was happening out of the usual. Now we have gone down such darkness. But, and I know that sounds terrible for me to say, but there is a good part about this. We've experienced that. We know what it's like. It's like it's like my great grandparents, or some of you, your grandparents or your parents, and what they had to deal with. With the world wars, with the Depression, with Vietnam, and all those eras, and how we dealt with social and cultural economic upheaval. I mean, there are now people talking about the gas issue right now, like when Jimmy Carter was president. We're dealing with shortages now with gas. And that is completely preventable. That should not have happened. In fact, we were energy independent not more than 13 months ago. We were producing more oil than anywhere else in the world. Now, I understand not a lot of people are fans of oil or natural gas or nuclear, but they're useful. We have to use resources when they're available. And yes, do all of us want a better, cleaner, more healthy environment? I don't know a single person who doesn't. But until the means come where it is safe to transfer over in a way where everything's effective, that's not going to happen. At least not the way they want. I mean, with the way they want to do the Great Reset. When using things, the way they're going to fix ships, right? So how they're going to fix sailing ships. They're not going to use gas. They're not going to use nuclear or anything like that. You know what they're going to use? This is actually kind of funny. Wind power. They're making a special wind power ship. Anybody's ever heard of a sail ship? A ship that the ships that we were using for hundreds of thousands of years. Those ships, the ships where we had a mast. I mean, they're talking about. You're saying that we want to go back 200 years of technological advancement for wind sails? Oh, I have a better idea. How about we use the resources that we have that are hidden within patent offices, but just hidden within deep projects? That information is much more useful. If we could use technology like electrogravitics in regular days, if we could use the power of magnetism effectively, if we could use the power of
those are clean energy,
They are 100% clean, right?
Yeah.
What about not magnesium, mercury-based momentum systems? That's a clean system. I mean, most people don't want to get close to mercury. That's why you have it nicely sealed. But there are avenues, and I think this is the best part about this whole thing. They will be available soon, because the only way to get that new paradigm, that wonderful new world, is to have the old one crumble. And I don't know about you, I'm seeing a lot of cracks everywhere. In fact, I think everybody has noticed how society is falling apart. This is not the beginning to the end. Right. This is the end. This is the beginning of the beginning. Right?
Yep.
In the beginning.
It's pretty exciting.
It's like
exciting times ahead of us.
Think about it. The most terrifying situations are usually the ones that are the most memorable. And sometimes
there's so much opportunity right now too, it's really exciting how much opportunity is coming up for everybody. And it's just, I think, being in that mindset, instead of being a victim, oh my God, what is going on? Why is this happening to me? Okay, I'm gonna stay chill. I know this sucks right now. I acknowledge the way I feel. I'm frustrated. stressed out. The future is like, yeah, I don't know where things are going, but there's so much there that, it's kind of exciting. Like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to come? Because I really, truly have faith in creator. I guess that would be my religious thing. I believe that there's a higher power out there, and that really when we put that energy and that positive, that gratitude, we really see that flow. And I've experienced that so many times in my life, even right now in this time of uncertainty with myself and my family. I really truly feel like something amazing is getting ready to happen. And
There's
I'm
always
excited about it.
a reward for sailing through, so to speak, uncharted territories. Hey, if we've seen enough sci-fi TV and movies like Star Trek, they've gone through the unknown, and they end up with all kinds of shenanigans. But the point is the
Right.
reward of the knowledge, and getting through it, and then knowing what to do even for next time. And it's just that it's putting forth yourself into the unknown and just kind of go with it. Things seem to always work out in the end.
Absolutely.
And people freak out so much with the unknown. I mean, gosh, I think the last kind of unknown that I've had was seeing a neighbor's dog eat a battery, a AAA battery. And I said, look, don't worry, everything always worked out in the other end. So, and it did. So, things will work out. It's unknown. We don't know what will happen. Dog didn't get a charge, so that's good. Things will work out though, So we just have to be patient. We have to, just work together. The number one thing is we all need to be working together. That if we can unify this country, unify this world, and to be able to stand up for what is right. And this is not just for us, as Mari said, but for our children, our grandkids, just the future. We have to fight for this. And as Alex said, there's cracks everywhere. You're right. It's crumbling. Everything is slowly crumbling. The old way is not going to work, and you have to watch it implode on itself.
And here's and one of the things, I was doing a podcast last night on my Telegram, and there was one question that kind of emanated the whole conversation we had. And the question we asked was, what got the deep state and all the secret societies so spooked? If they can destroy countries and destroy economies and destroy a way of life of billions, what has them so spooked? There is something much higher, more powerful out there, a source of good. Right. Call it God, call it providence, call it source, whatever you want to call it. There is something there. And it is, it has other ideas.
Yeah, they have been using technology. The bad guys have been using technology, and they have what's called it's almost like a machine that sends out negativity pulses, if you will, that can basically getting someone crabby, bitchy machine, if you will. They have it cranked all the way up, and they had it cranked all the way up for years now. It's not working. So we know that there's an outside source that is pushing better vibes onto the world, and it's fighting. It's literally like a tug of war. And when you play tug of war and you got this little handkerchief in the middle there, and it's either being pulled to one side to the other, it's swinging towards the positive side. It's pulling. And so and like I said, you can't tell people everything. You have to show people things. So things are coming out. The truth is coming out. The light is coming out. So whatever's going on, it's working. So we just have to keep holding the line and pushing through.
I got my buckle on. I'm ready for the ride. Woo!
I think I'm gonna ride this.
That attitude.
It'll be like going downhill. You know how we raise both of our arms in the air when we go downhill on a roller coaster, right?
I think
right.
I think I'm going to do probably the most ridiculous thing, which is ride a nuclear missile that this is, straddle it like a horse, and have a 10-gallon hat and just kind of wave down to ground zero. You know, it acts like
Right?
it's like a rodeo situation. Come on, there's at least one or
I'ma
two
ride
movies
that
where they
bitch.
shown that.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Can I
I
just
just
note one thing before we go, though? I just want to note this is just something that I have been saying to some people, and others have also said it already before me. But I am absolutely impressed about one thing of this sickness. This is the only thing that I have seen that was made in China that has lasted this long. I'm just going to leave it there at the end.
You know,
That was
this is the first.
awesome.
This
I love
was the
it.
first thing in China that was made that actually killed off things like the flu and heart disease.
I know, right? It's a miracle.
I
Oh
know.
God, this has been really delightful, guys. Thanks so much for coming on again with HeartMind Expressions and our amazing Sue McClure and Alex Spielman. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. And you know what? We're
Super
going to
hard,
keep winning
yeah.
this. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep standing up for our rights. And, you know, it's okay to say no, people. And let's just do this together. We're
Be
going to rock and
yourself.
roll.
Never stop being you.
And of course, the best is yet to come.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
everyone.
Guys,
Good night.
till this time, good night.